Hey, it's Kevin DeWitt here and welcome back to the Recording in a Home Music Studio course. In this video, we're going to talk about recording electronic drums. So recording electronic drums. You may be wondering, what the heck am I talking about? We just did virtual drums in the previous video. What I'm talking about this time though is not virtual drums, which is a virtual instrument in your computer. I'm talking about literally electronic drums. So it is an external hardware unit. It could be a drum unit specifically. It could be a synth that plays drums. It generates the audio for you. It's not reliant on computer software to do it for you. So with this method, what we are taking is taking a physical hardware unit that plays electronic drums, and we will be putting an audio cable from that unit into our audio interface, and we will be recording the audio from that drum unit or that synth. So I have a drum unit here that I will be doing some parts on. Now, for the sake of this course, just keep this in mind. I am going to be recording practically everything that I teach in this course. At the end of this course, I may have way too many parts that just don't fit the song because I've gone over the top to show you the process of doing it. Hopefully we'll fit them all into the song and they will actually be appropriate, but there may be parts that I create that I will remove from the final song when we get into the mixing course, but we'll work on that when we get to it. But at this stage, I want to record each of these parts. So even if I feel this song probably didn't need electronic drums, I will be recording electronic drums for this song to go with the virtual drums, just for the sake of teaching it, and possibly it may just work and add a different element to the song and make it even better. We'll find out when we get there. So as in my case, if you have already recorded virtual drums, you may not want to do this, or you may not have a hardware unit to do that. Or you may not have recorded virtual drums because you have an electronic drum unit and you want to record that. So you need to pick and choose what you need to record. And that's the point of the worksheets at the end of the ebooks here, to decide what parts of the song you need to record this element for, and then marking down that you have completed it or you're about to do it, or whatever it is that you're going to do. So as I stated, with electronic drums, we are actually passing audio into our audio interface. We are not passing MIDI, we are not passing a USB signal, like we're not plugging in USB. We are physically plugging an audio cable into our computer to pass audio as if it was the same as a guitar or anything else, but it is going to be an electronic drum sound. It could be like an 808 style drum kit, whatever it is, right? We're going to be doing that. And I'm going to show you how I do that here, and I may have pads that I'm going to hit. It may be me programming my unit to play a pattern, and then we'll record it onto a track, and it will be put in an appropriate spot in our song to go with the rest of the drums and the rest of the instruments we are going to record. All right, so we're back in Cubase in our song, Home Music Studio song, and we've done our virtual drums. And what we're going to do now is we're going to record some electronic drums. And I was trying to think of where to place them. And at this stage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do it in the bridge. Now, we may chop and change this when we get further down the track, as I've stated all along, but at the moment we're going to do it in the bridge, just because I just thought it might be an obvious place to do it. And we may actually put it in the outro as well, but we'll see about that later. I think it'll be the same pattern, so I'm just going to record something into the bridge. So what I'm going to do first off is I'm going to mute the virtual drums we did in the bridge so that they're not playing at all. What we're going to do is set up our tracks. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a audio track, but what I might do is, no, we'll just add, we'll add one audio track at the moment, and we're going to set the import to be, let's synth and drums. Okay, so my hardware unit, my electronic drums, is plugged into these inputs here called synth and drums. It is a stereo input, so it's actually like two inputs and joined together to be stereo. We're going to send that to the drum bus and we'll call it E.drums at the moment. Okay, so we'll add that. I'm going to set it as the drum color. All right, and that's pretty much all we need to do to have it in. We've already got it set to record enable, but what we need to do now is actually sort of come up with our parts, get our sound right for our electronic drums, because these are going to record audio, okay? This is not a virtual, this is an actual stereo audio track. So it's going to record audio, so whatever is played has to be right. We can't really adjust it. The best we could do is do some EQ and effects and that sort of stuff, but we can't really change the sound. We can't change the type of drum or anything like that. It is what the machine produces, so we need to get that sound right. So in that respect, what I've got is I've basically double clicked on this bridge section here, this cycle marker. That's set the loop already there. So when I turn loop on, that means that we can play the audio and it will loop over and over again and allow us to sort of play with our sound to get our sound right. All right, so we've got our drum machine here and it's connected up. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play. So we just obviously test it out. Make sure we got some sound. Yep, that's good. Now we can't see it come up on our track because we don't have the monitor button on. Now if I put the monitor on, we'll be able to hear or see the meter move. But through my speakers I get a double up because of the latency of the software compared to my audio interface. So I don't want that on while I'm doing this. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to actually turn our metronome on through our speakers, and I'll do that through the control room. So if we turn that on, hopefully when we press play, okay, so we get a nice annoying click track. And now what we want to do is sort of work out our pattern. So we might sort of program that in. Now it's going to depend when we press play because this is not locked to our DAW, it's not synced to it. But if I go step, I could program this in. So I could say I want basically 4 on the floor, but I'm doing a double on the end. So if I press play, okay, so we're just getting an idea, right? Because it's not going to lock in with the song, as I said, because it's not locked to the tempo of the song. I've got it set to 60 on the machine, but it's not timed to the start of it. So now we want something else, and we can tweak all the sounds of these. So we could change the color. So we change the bass there. Now we could add a snare in, just work out a pattern for that. It's hard when it's not in time with the music. I sort of tried to get that as close as possible to the metronome. So we might go with that with the snare, but then you might want to do a hi-hat as well, so we might just go something. And then we probably want something, I just want some sort of other effect as well. Okay, so we could add something like that in. So if we just program those bits in appropriate spots. So we make sure kicks are in. Get our snares in our spots. Hi-hats. And the open hi-hats. Okay, so I reckon that's where we want it. So if we play it in time. And now we can play with our sounds a bit. Gonna add some distortion in. I like the sound of the distortion, but I'm worried that it's a bit too much. Okay, I'm going to stop that. We've got that saved, and I'm going to stop the playback of the music for a minute. Now what I need to do is record these in to the DAW. But what I'm thinking of doing to give me maximum flexibility, we could record this as is on a single stereo track, but it would not give us a great level of flexibility. So what I'm thinking of doing is that I can mute all the parts, all the individual hits, and then record each one individually. So we could do the kick, and I could do them on individual tracks by just duplicating the track over and over again and re-recording it. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to set those up right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this track. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to rename some of these. So I'm going to go, that's going to be the E kick. That's going to be the E snare. I'll duplicate. Just duplicate a couple more times because we need this many. So this one here is going to be the E clap. Then we've got the E closed hat. And then the E open hat. Right. Okay. So they're all set to the same input, but we are going to only record one of them at a time. What I'm going to do is turn the cycle function off because we don't want it to cycle. Now, because this is not synced to the equipment, and I'm sure we could have a method where we could have set this up with MIDI and everything else to have the DAW control the unit at the same time. I just don't have that. So what I'm going to do is it's just going to record in, and basically I will just edit it and line it all up at the end with the beat, because it may not start at the exact right time, and we'll just need to line it up. All right, so now that I've got them all in place, we will go ahead and start recording each one of these. Okay, so what I'm going to do is now we're going to record, and we're going to, let me think how we're going to do this. All right, so we've only got the kick going at the moment. So I'm going to go and hit record on the unit, and then we will hit play at hopefully the right time, and we'll get our music in. Okay, so you can hear that's not in time, but that's all right. We've recorded enough, we can line that up. It's the beauty of editing. Okay, so that is one pass. What I'm going to do though, because I said before, remember that I did like the sound of the distortion, but I was a little bit worried it was too much. So actually, let's just have a listen. Yeah, I do like it. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to do 2 takes on the same track. That gives us some options. All right, so if I click here and I go new version, now we can have a distorted take. Okay, so we'll just let this play through. now we're going to repeat that for all of our parts. So I'll turn the distortion off. Actually, we'll just click play. So I'll mute the... Alright, going to mute. Okay, so I've unmuted the snare this time. Alright, we'll click stop, and we'll do the same thing over and over again. This time we do it on the next track. Now you hear it playing the kick, it's not recording the kick. That's the kick that we recorded a moment ago. Now if I didn't want to hear that kick, I could obviously mute it in the software. Now again, we're going to do our distorted part to save some time. As I said, we'll have a little bit of editing to do to line these up because I haven't been very accurate with placing these in the right spots and everything else. So I guess if you take a little bit extra time and you line this up a little bit better, or if you do sync it up with MIDI, then you'd have a better result because it would just actually be timed exactly right. Now, keep in mind, we could have recorded this live by playing. If you're a very proficient player of electronic drums, feel free to record this actually live. You know, because that may be the best result you get is a true performance. I'm not that good, so I prefer to program. I'm going to mute that. Alright, so we're going to go to our next track now, so distortion off. We're going to unmute that track, mute the snare. This is going to be an interesting one, because it's only one hit. Alright, just take our distorted part. Hang on, I did something wrong. I did something wrong. Undo. Undo. Okay, so we'll do our next part. So new version. And we will start recording. Take our distortion on. I accidentally paused the playing there instead of playing it. But again, we'll edit. It'll be fine. I mean, in theory, we could just capture a couple of hits and just copy and paste over and over again. Okay, just wanted to get an extra couple of hits in that one because of me starting late. Okay, distortion off. All right, so we got the clap. Now we're up to the closed hats. Okay, what is going on? Stop. Mute. Okay, right, we're set up. Let's go for record time. The fact that it keeps starting in the bit before that makes me think I must have a bit of pre-roll set on this, which I should adjust because that's... I probably did that for guitar playing because it gives me a bit of a lead in, but it doesn't help in this situation. Okay, let's set up our new version. I hit record. Stop, distortion on. Go. I think it was a little early that time. Alright, stop that and the distortion off. Let's check our mutes this time. So we're going to unmute the open hi-hat. And now I'll mute the closed. And for some reason it does that again. I think it's user error. It's fine. Okay, so open hi-hat is working. Now we will click record. Alright, so we just got one more to go, which is our distorted open hi-hat. We will click record again. Actually, what we should do is do the new version first. Save writing over what we just did. Let's do that again. Again, it's playing that hi-hat from the previous track. So I could mute that so there's no confusion of what we're recording. Feel free to let any of the tracks play. I'm just muting them to make it very clear what we're recording. Okay, beautiful. Let's stop this. Turn it off. All good. Right, now we're going to go and edit the tracks and get them all lined up and set up perfectly.